In your book, you do an amazing job of breaking down certain words and looking at the etymology of these words. There are three words in particular I'd like to focus on in terms of the etymology: pastor, minister, and the word amen.
Well, yeah, it's all in the etymology link of that article. And of course, aster is obviously referring to the heavens. And even stir, like Manchester, Colchester. This is because in ancient times, when Druids founded a city, they were looking up. You wanted to it was like what's called a tutelary deity. Every city was dedicated to a particular star or sun. Washington, D.C. is the most classic example, but so is Philadelphia. But so are the British cities and the French cities. They would look for ley lines or serpent lines or dragon lines to do it on if they could. And that's a huge part of it, because the later Templars were obsessed by that. But so were the Celts. The Templars didn't discover salt lines. They were there from antiquity by this area who loved the earth, were healing the earth of the great cataclysm we talked about, and meticulously did things to do that. And then from a sacred point of view, would align their churches with a knoll on the hill or a mountain peak or a dip, right? Either something like that or something like that. That would create a ley line, and they put a church on it, or something holy. Masonic lodges networks like this. But when they founded a city, they would literally bring a big staff, and the Druid would stand on the sacred spot, probably at a ley line, look up to the heavens, and they would take note of what particular stars were in the sky at that time, and frequently rose there. And that would give, like Belfast, Bialfersta, right? Mouth of the river. But Bel is obviously more than just, what later came to be. Bel is also the ancient god Baal, which the Celts worshipped. So Belfast, Dub Belin, right? There's a etymological secret meanings, like Pesher, Green Hill, something as banal as that. Oh boy, goodness. The permutations of the word green encompass seed, woman, sun. So this is why it takes another lifetime to get into all of that. And sometimes the meanings are not particularly, clear. Blackpool. I love to go to Blackpool. It's brilliant there. Love it. Go there every summer. Yes, but the word black doesn't mean black. It means white. What? Black comes from a word meaning firelight on the hills, like you see in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings when they light the great fires on the hilltops as a signal. The lighting, the Gaelic word for the firelight is blach, or something similar to that. Don't quote me, right? But that's where our word black comes from. So black meant firelight. Odd. You see, so sometimes there's a twist. It's absolutely incredible when you start getting into all of these different meanings. So the Druid would then consecrate the city or the town, or some building even, by the way. That's why they still do it when they smash the bottle of champagne. They cut the ribbon at different events. It's all Druidic. And they bring the scissors or the knife on a pillow. This is all Druidic stuff. A mayor, the mayor of the city. That's from an Irish word, mayor. The Germans pronounce it mayor. Right? There's also major, when a major in the army, or the Lord Mayor. Those two words, major and mayor, come from yew tree, keeper of the yew tree. The rod that they held was blackthorn from a tree. The other one is hawthorn, was used in the ceremony of the Queen when she opens Parliament. There's black rod comes and hits the door, or he stamps 3 times, like judges will knock 3 times with a wooden mallet. You'll see banisters with acorn shapes in courts. Even the precinct that you walk through where only the lawyers can go. Hundreds of the words that are used. Branch, it's a branch office. Office comes from serpent, Ophius. Branch comes from a tree. My staff, my professional staff, will tell you all about it. My staff, yeah, where'd that come from? What is a staff? Right? It's all back to Druidic lore. It's just endless. Yeah. I try to put it all in the book, as you're right. And the etymology, like the iconography and the symbolism, as we've seen through this program and others, it is the royal road. Those are the 3 royal roads to the truth. And so when you get these detractors who know nothing about symbolism, know nothing about etymology, or only the exoteric form of etymology where they've looked it up in the Webster's dictionary. Oh dear, right? And then nothing about Masonic or sacred society iconography. Why have a conversation with people like that? You're just wasting your time. Yeah.
So pastor being father and star being astrological,
Yeah,
would be a very hard concept for any pastor to accept.
yes, and you don't leave it there. You go to minister. You go to Monsignor. You go to the plates that they use, the Eucharist that they use, and start showing other, like you mentioned earlier yourself about the round windows, the rosette windows, and you just offer them a new interpretation. They have their interpretation, and they'll say, no, but this is what that means. And we go, but yeah, but the ancient Greeks had it before Christianity ever arose, or the Parthians had that, or the Persians had that, the Egyptians had that, the Celts had that. They had Isus. You know your Jesus guy that you love so much? Yeah. He's Dionysus. He's Isus, the carpenter god. Jesus is a carpenter in the Bible, right? Yeah. Oh, who's Joseph when he's home? They had that. And Mary, they had that. You see, and you do what I've done, which is just put the element of doubt. No argument is required. Just present the information like I do, and just leave them. Don't just get out of the way, because there's going to be an explosion, more likely an implosion, but get the hell out of the way. Right? But it is our duty and our freedom and love of wisdom, right? These church people don't love knowledge. They love the power that knowledge brings them. There's all the difference in the world. The pre-Vedic person loved wisdom, loved knowledge for its own sake. That tradition is long gone. It's millennia dead. It's only the word philosopher means lover of wisdom. Well, we don't have people like that. And the original word, it was Pythagoras that used the word philosopher for the first time. Before that, the word was sage, because the sage person is not interested in power, right? The post-historical creature after this period, yeah, it's the power of knowledge, it's the power of wisdom, it's the power of power. Because we have a cult of Set running things, and slowly the brain got contaminated, and people lost their humanity, partly from the trauma, but partly from just the constant, miseducation. So you know what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the worldwide cognitive resistance. So our love of the wisdom says we carry on to do the vocation of it, to present the information and the knowledge, but we're not attached to any outcome. Because if you are, you'll beat your head off the wall. Don't be attached to the outcome, because if you are, you will live a life of absolute misery and hardship over this, of the total intractability of the human race. Their deep, deep misosophy, hatred of wisdom. So when you enter into this arena and you take up the fight, you better have read the manual first. You're dealing with people who not only don't know about wisdom or have indifferent thoughts about it, maybe like it, maybe are waiting there, hungrily waiting for the truth. Yeah, it really looks like it, doesn't it? No. These are haters of wisdom that you're entertaining, that you're in front of. That's why they're into the dogmas and won't leave it, even when great evidence is put in front of them, to show antiquity or dispersion or etymology or any of these things. Look at Amun. It's at the end of every prayer. Anybody know that's Egyptian? Go around and actually it means there's two different, somebody would say it's Amun-Ra, which is the sun. But I mentioned a pharaoh earlier on called Ahmose, the one who kicked the shit out of the Hyksos. Right? A-H in Egyptian is the moon. So Amun actually it shows me that the real Amun was a composite being, which most of the Amonist gods were. In fact, they were often triplicities, by the way. This is the difference, of the real Amonists. And it turns out that that's one of the connections to the Druids, because the Druids love triangles and the number 3, as everybody even generically knows, the triple spiral and everything like that. So for them, a god had to be part of a pantheon of 3. Mother, child, son is one configuration of it. But you could have 2 males. That's where the twin idea comes from, But the 3 was very important to them, and you find that signature in the Amonist tradition. So Amen-Ra might have actually had a lunar side. The god Min, for instance, looks like that might have been the solar side. But they had 7 different priesthoods. So there's different configurations of different gods. But the main split of the gods of Egypt is into lunar and into solar. So Ahmen was probably, a sun god in one cult, in one iteration on the Nile, but could have been Aha, right? And so the Pharaoh, Mos, right? Moses, because Moses, as Sigmund Freud discovered, is an Egyptian name. Well, Moses is he who has come out of the, he who worships or who is born of the moon, moon-born. But another cult picks up the same men and says son of man, son of men. Well, who's men? Is that Min? Is Min an older god than, Amun-Ra? So you get into it, you start looking it up. Isis, she wasn't called Isis back in Egypt, it's called Aset. Well, what does Set mean? And she's always seen sitting. Well, that's funny, because the gods seem to split into different, you see standing gods, you see sitting gods, and you even see kneeling gods. Are we being told something here symbolically through the hieroglyphs? You bet you're right. Is one of those gods an earth god? Is the other one a god of the air? Or the, another, like a human level? And then the other ones are sidereal, they're of the other world, and they're showing you this. Did you know that most of the Egyptian gods are shown with 2 left hands? 2 left hands, what that's all about? And why are they shown mostly only from the side? Why is the side? Why did the artists of Egypt pick a side profile? Wouldn't it have been much more realistic to have them face on and doing things in a normal sort of aesthetic sense? Why did they specifically choose this? Or is there artwork that's been squirreled away that we don't know about that showed other kinds of hieroglyphics and other kinds of meanings? What about the hieratical, what's called hieratic texts? Because you can't build a pyramid by drawing hieroglyphs, can you, as an instruction? You have to have proper writing. Well, what happened to that? It's called hieratic writing. Where's that? Where are the scrolls and scrolls of that? Well, find out what Lord Carnarvon, Sir Flinders Petrie, and all these other masons who were over there in Egypt digging everything up. When you even know it, you don't even know the tip of the iceberg of the criminality that's happened to desecrate Egypt so that we won't know everything we're talking about right now. And a good man, a moral man, when he sees a crime being committed, guess what? He does something about it. So when people say, I'm emboldened, I'm gonna take these buggers down. Yes, because we've witnessed a historical crime. And I, for one, know that the descendants of that criminal organization, that criminal conspiracy, that criminal syndicate still run our world. And I'm sick of it.